what we'll do is I'll schedule a time to have my handyman come through and bid out the house for me. That way I have a good idea of what repairs I need to do.
Hey, this is Trevor coming at you with another CarrotCast, and I've got on the line today two amazing investors out of California, and I've been acquaintances and actually had a chance to meet these two guys a few months ago down in San Diego. I was fortunate enough to have dinner with them and a bunch of other amazing investors, and they've always, I'm not just saying this because you guys are here, like literally there's a handful, more than a handful, but there's customers that we talk about internally on the team and in a good ways, and you guys are always in those conversations, so it's always a treat getting you guys on here, and part of it is your story, part of it is that you guys are young guys and going out there and making stuff happen, and also it's just really cool being able to be a part of seeing someone's journey from not quite the start but very close to the start to where you guys are going now, and I can see you guys have amazing things in the future. So I've got Josh and Adam Justiniano with me from Quick Home Offers in California, and we've got some really cool tips that they're going to be sharing with you today on a part of their business, how they're doing some virtual wholesaling. So those of you who are out there doing virtual wholesaling or wanting to do, or if you are a very active investor and you're wanting to go into different markets, this is something that you can really leverage technology, leverage better strategy, leverage relationships. We're going to show you some cool ways that these guys are finding people to help them in their virtual wholesaling, so they don't have to actually go out and see properties, so they don't have to actually go out there and inspect the property or do the bids in the property. So if that explains anything you guys want to do that are listening to this, hang on for this and listen in. So before we dive into those two quick tips though on what we call their handyman secret for virtual wholesaling, and also the technology and how they make their offers when they're virtual wholesaling, when they're not there actually meeting with the sellers, when they're not there actually seeing the property. So we're going to dive into those here in a second. But welcome on, guys, and thank you guys for coming on the CarrotCast.
Thanks for having us.
So I got to ask, so that background looks amazing back there. Is that like a green screen background where you guys are piping that thing in, or is that in your office, or what is the background? Where are you guys at?
No, this is our office actually.
That's awesome. It's funny. I've seen so many videos where people literally, like, it's green, they green screen in the exact background you guys have. They want to look cool, and you guys actually have the background. So that's awesome. So you guys have been investing for how long? So let's give a really brief history of who you guys are, what you guys do now, and then we'll dive into the quick tips. So how long have you guys been investing? Whereabouts is your market area? Because you did mention that you guys virtual wholesale, and what is it that you guys are really excited about for this year?
So we got our first deal back in November of 2013. So we've been investing for like 2.5, going on 3 years now. So in that time, I think we've done a little over 50 transactions. So yeah, it's been great working with my brother too. I know he likes working with me. I cracked the whip.
It's good to work with family. You really have someone you can lean on, which is very helpful. You're trustworthy. That's big, especially in this business. So that's definitely helped. Yeah, we've been wholesaling for a couple of years. Recently we've been buying some rental properties. We closed on a duplex yesterday. Picked up some units over the last couple of years, fix and flip, and now we're starting to get into some land and development, and that's what we're looking forward to.
So long term, are you guys moving more and more into the buy and hold? Or are you guys wanting to keep on wholesaling, and kind of what's your strategy?
I think the wholesaling and flipping is really just like a means to get to to generate some cash so that we can put that into some buy and holds. That's really what we're in it for. So.
I think that's an amazingly important distinction there, because a lot of people will see wholesaling as the end all be all. It's like, okay, I'll be able to grow my business or leave my job or whatever it is. And you can scale a wholesaling business or a house flipping business. You totally can. There's people doing huge amounts of revenue doing it. But like you guys mentioned, if you're not taking that cash flow and investing it in something that's going to continue to grow. You just basically created yourself a job. And it's really cool seeing that you guys have that strategy for whatever period of time it is. This is your active cash flow coming from wholesaling and virtual wholesaling, like we're going to get into here in a second. And then you're taking that active cash flow and putting it into passive cash flow vehicles. So just to everyone listening, that's an amazing strategy. And make sure you do have an end game beyond wholesaling. Where are you going to put that money besides just buying milk and buying that car and buying whatever? How are you going to use that to set yourself free? So it's amazing, guys. You guys are down in California. And the virtual wholesaling side, so where do you live, and kind of where would you guys consider your market area? How far away from where you guys live will you guys consider buying a house?
So we live in Ventura County, so Thousand Oaks area, but we do most of our transactions in Bakersfield and Fresno, and we've done a couple in Lancaster, Palmdale, Antelope Valley area. And we're actually just starting to invest closer to home now too. So, but most of our stuff is probably how far is Bakersfield?
It's about 2.5, 3 hours. I'd say about 3 hours.
And then Fresno's probably about 4 hours away.
Yeah, okay. 3.5, 4 hours. Yeah.
So first quick tip here, guys. So people who are in those of you who are watching this the first time and listening to it the first time, the whole aim with these calls is to introduce you to some amazing investors and give you some quick tips that are working really, really well in their business that you can go and implement in your business. If you want to hear the whole story about Justiniano, we actually have a case study on our website that dives into their story more, their online marketing stuff and what they're doing there. But today we're going to be focused on virtual wholesaling. So the first quick tip here, how do you guys determine, and I'm throwing this one on, we did not talk about this one earlier, so it just popped up in my head. How do you guys determine what cities to go in and focus on with your wholesaling? So you guys live in Ventura County, Thousand Oaks area. How did you guys choose, let's say, Bakersfield? How did you guys choose Fresno and the other markets that you're going after?
Well, originally the reason why we chose Bakersfield and Fresno was I think that we can get a higher volume of transactions. So the game was I wanted to quit my job. He wanted to quit his job. In order to do that, it couldn't just be like one big chunk of cash and then you're dry for, however long. This was more of like it's maybe some, it's easier to get deals in those areas because they're lower price points. So that was the original reason why. It was because we can create more of a consistent deal flow in those areas.
And that's huge. So consistency on deal flow, the price points, which of course help set that consistency. Because if you're at $500,000, $1 million price points, the deal flow is going to be lower, exactly, which doesn't create the consistency. That's huge right there. So anyone who's looking at expanding your marketplace or doing virtual wholesaling, figure out what your aim is. Or if you're aiming for consistency, find a market that gives you that consistency and a lot of deals or a good consistent flow of deals that you can churn and make profits on versus that one hit every 6 months. That's huge a tip right there. Were you guys doing anything else to try to determine whether a market would give you consistent leads? Or are there certain prices for houses you're looking for in those markets? Is there certain trend? What are you guys looking for in those markets? Population, kind of what you look for?
Well, population came into play, but also resource-based jobs. So in Bakersfield, now that oil's down. So, but there was oil, there's agriculture, there's also logistics, a lot of logistics there. And the same thing with Fresno, there's a lot of ag, and there's a lot of logistics there. It's very centrally located in California.
Cool.
And there's a large population in Fresno, a pretty big sized population in Bakersfield. So that definitely came into play as well.
Awesome. So we're talking blue collar jobs, average size houses, average purchase prices. So that's a huge tip right there, guys and gals. So make that note. Everyone watching this going.
Resource-based jobs too, because you can't pick up resource-based jobs and move them somewhere else. They have to be they're there. The resources are there. You can't pick those up and move them. So
I like it. So next quick tip on the virtual wholesaling. You guys mentioned you guys have a pretty cool strategy going on how you're able to not have to go visit houses now. And Adam, you mentioned you haven't seen a house in 8 months or something like that.
Yeah.
So what are you guys doing to make it to where you can wholesale or flip houses in other markets without you physically being there, seeing the house, or even talking to the seller in person now?
Well, it all comes first. It starts with, obviously with the lead. So whether it be on Carrot or other marketing avenues, we'll go through with the seller, let them know our process, vet the deal. If it looks like it might pencil out, we soft pass them. Say, hey, look, based on what you've been telling me about the condition and market conditions will be between X and Y. If that sounds like that's something that can work for you, what we'll do is I'll schedule a time to have my handyman come through and bid out the house for me. That way I have a good idea of what repairs I need to do. So from there, I call a handyman. I have one in my pocket, usually in a few of the markets that we're in, which is it can work anywhere in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
You call a local handyman off Angie's List, whatever it may be. You let them know, hey, I'm doing a couple. I buy property in the area, maybe one or two a month. And if you can go look at these, I'll pay you per house. Not only that, but if I buy the property, I can give you a job as well. So they're
or referrals too,
or referrals, which they're very happy to do. So we send the handyman over there. Of course, you want to make sure that he's a professional and he's not just some random guy off the street. So you got to vet the handyman as well. But we send him over there. He takes pictures for us. Gives us a bid. Then we have a good idea of what's going on. We make the offer to the seller, and from there, if it's acceptable, we'll go ahead and put in a written offer.
Now, what I do want to say is this is the best way to find good handymen. Is I don't go to the first page of Google. I go to the second page, and then usually those guys are a little bit less busy. They tend to be older, and you want to find somebody who's old, like a little bit older, and has either grown up there or lived there a very long time, because they know all the value lines. Like this street is, you cross this street over here, you're in a different neighborhood. These people, especially if they live there a long time, that is gold. They are a gold mine of information where it can cut your learning curve from a year to just, one or two transactions just talking with them. You can get a pretty good understanding.
That's a really cool tip. So go to page 2 in Google, and there's some really good information kind of underlying in there that make that work. Obviously, if the person, and especially if they have a really bad looking website, like literally if they have a bad looking website, they're probably, like you said, they're probably not very techy. They might be older or whatever it is. So as long as they're a good handyman and like I said, they know the area, that's amazing. So what are you guys paying? If you guys don't mind me asking, what do you guys pay a handyman to go out there and look at a property?
Anywhere from about $35 to about $50. So that saves me some money for gas, time. I'm able to work on other deals as well. So I'd say we generally about $50.
And sometimes we do give a bonus for close. Like if we close that transaction, we might give them a bonus of maybe just send them a check for $100. They always like that. It's a nice surprise. So.
Oh, yeah. So they're going out there. Are they taking pictures for you guys? Do they have a sheet that you guys are giving them to fill stuff out, or do they have their own sheet? Kind of what do you guys? How do they get the information back to you guys?
Well, they take pictures, and I just hey, what does it need to look like? Just maybe give them a picture of a comparable property and say, hey, just take pictures of everything that needs to be changed out to make it look like this.
Oh, cool.
Or, also there's some questions that they, need to ask, like what kind of plumbing is it? And, make sure you get a picture of the roof and all that. So the big ticket items as well.
Are they actually coming up with replacement costs for stuff, or are they just giving you the list and you guys go out there and find the replacement costs for stuff or repair costs?
They might be able to give us a general idea, but there's a great tool. You know what? I'm going to have to send you the link because I forgot I think it's homeadvisor.com.
Yeah, it is.
Where you can type in your zip code, and if you go through your bid sheet, they'll tell you what you got to replace and all this. You can get the average price for that replacement in that neighborhood. Now, the thing to remember is if you're wholesaling, a rehabber is going to be a little bit below that cost because they they have connections. They know how to get things done cheaper. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a little bit on the high side, but it'll be generally about where it is. So
that's awesome. So that's a huge tip right there, guys and gals. So if you're looking at doing investing in other markets, you got to have someone on the ground. You definitely got to have someone on the ground. Here's an amazing tip for finding a handyman. Go to Angie's List, go to page 2 and Google whatever it is, and you guys are listening to the other tips that Josh and Adam gave you as well. So a third one here. So once you guys, let's say you find a property, the handyman gave the information, you guys decide you want to make an offer, you make an offer. How are you guys making the offer and actually putting it under contract as a virtual wholesaler? Are you guys are you emailing them the contract? Are you faxing it? Are you mailing it? Doing all the above? Are you physically talking on the phone with the seller then about the agreement? And kind of how does the logistics of that all go down?
So yeah, once we have a firm figure of what the repairs costs are, we'll call them. We'll make a formal offer, and if that's acceptable, say, hey, based on this, we can do X amount of dollars, $100,000. Let's just say. Oh, great. Then I say, okay, what's what do you have an email? I usually do email. It's quick. It's easy. We deal with a lot of older people as well, so they don't do email. So I either mail, fax, whatever's really easier for them. And once they get the agreement, I always would suggest to go over it with them just so they feel more comfortable about it. And then, once they get it, we go over it with them. They either email it back, mail it back, fax it back, whatever it may be. If you're mailing something, always put an extra envelope and another stamp for them.
Yep.
So they don't have to go. You want it as convenient as it can be for them. Once we get it back, we send it into escrow and just kind of, like I said, make everything convenient for them as well. So
are you guys using anything for digital signature? Like if you're emailing the contract, is it straight up a PDF that they have to print off, sign, scan, get back, or is it digital signature?
I haven't actually tried what is it, DocuSign or anything like that. I mean, that would probably be a good thing to try and do, but honestly, I've never tried it. I mean, that's probably a good idea to try.
And if you guys aren't having the issue of getting it back, then that's awesome. I don't know if you
not really.
With my personal experience with me, dude, it takes days for me to print something off, sign it, scan it. It's not that it's hard. It might take 4 minutes to do, but it's the whole process of physically having to do that. And,
if they're a motivated seller, they're gonna print it out.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, the digital signature may honestly scare them more than anything. Who knows? I know a lot of people use it, but I was just kind of curious to whether you guys are using that or just old school.
We might test that out though. I think
might be a good yeah.
Cool. So on that, so it doesn't sound like it's anything crazy complicated, but it's just having the right information, making them a clear offer, hopping on the phone with them for sure, so they have that personal connection with you, you're a real person, walking them through the offer, so it's there in front of them. You guys have it there, and then getting the contract over to them in a way that they can best get it back to you, mail, fax, email, what have you, and then you go from there. So I know there's a lot more to your guys' business. With these quick tips, we only have about 5 minutes per, and I think you guys dropped some 3 amazingly effective and simple to implement tips for people that are going to completely remove bottlenecks for them. If you're an advanced investor, which is what we focus on, what we call the high achieving investor, someone who's already making a lot of their income, if not their full-time income from real estate, one of the ways that you can expand your business is by going into different markets. We talk to other investors who are finding in one market, which is their normal home market, they're having a tough time. So one way to do that is to expand to other markets, is to you go out there 100 miles, 200 miles, 300 miles, whatever it is, as long as you can set up those systems like having someone to see your property, be able to tie up a contract without having to talk to the person in person, face to face, and everything that goes around that. And of course, sell your properties, which that's a time for another call someday on how to sell properties virtually, which I've been not involved in a purchase and sale of yours, but I've seen behind the scenes at least how some of it happens. When you can't find a deal, you reach out to relationships and see what you can find. You close that deal. You just hustle and make sure it works. So that's a time for another call potentially. But I appreciate the heck out of you guys coming on this call. Last question, and I'm going to get out of here and go to my daughter's t-ball practice. But what are you guys reading right now? I'm always really curious. You guys can see behind me, that's one of my bookshelves. That's not the only one that I've got. But what are you guys reading right now? And who are you guys following? Who are you guys following CEO-wise?
So we just actually moved into this office, so I have all my books in my shed, but I am actually doing where is it? This here. So
Cool.
Professional.
Looks like a rousing read too. I'm sure it's insanely good though.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's really detailed. It's a textbook. I forgot what college they use this at, but there's some really good stuff in here. It's kind of a dry read, but I like it. And then I read. I have Audible on my phone, so I read. I listen to 2 books a month, and right now I'm listening to 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. I'm sure you've heard of that
That's
before.
a great book, man.
Yeah,
book.
so
I like it. And then who are you guys following? Do you have a CEO, a leader somewhere that you're following that you're kind of inspired by?
maybe not a CEO. I like Sam Zell. Sam Zell is a CEO actually, but I like him. He's really, really insightful, and he's very smart. He's a lawyer. He's a good guy to listen to. So Sam Zell, I would say, I'd probably listen to, or at least read what he has to say. So
cool. I like it, Adam.
Sounds cliche, but I really connect with Richard Branson. I'm a surfer. He's a windsurfer. He does a lot of great humanitarian work. I'm big in that. That's something I definitely want to get into in the near future. Very sharp man. He's got hundreds of businesses, and he's a sharp tack. So I like to follow him.
I love it, man. I'm with you on that one too. So, guys, amazing having you on here. Keep crushing it. Get settled into that new office, and enjoy. And thank you guys for coming on the CarrotCast.
All right, thank you.
Awesome, guys. Thank you. If you guys want to learn more about or partner with them on deals, look them up online, quickhomeoffers.com. And especially if you're in one of those areas, it'd be a good idea to partner with them. If you're a serious buyer, connect with them. If you're a tire kicker, if you've never done a deal, sit back until you've done that and then connect with them. So thank you guys for coming on, and have a great week.
Yep, thank you.
Hey, see you guys.